Today, let's make a low bowl arrangement. So this is an arrangement that works really well for like wedding or event centerpieces or as a piece that stands alone for a photo shoot. It's a little bit more sculptural, and each blossom has the chance to shine in this type of arrangement. The fun part about these arrangements is typically you want the height to be around 4 to 5 times the height of your bowl. And it's a little bit of a trick on the eye. People often wonder how you're able to make gravity work in this situation. And so today I'm going to show you my foam-free method for making a stable and beautiful low bowl flower arrangement. And today I will be walking you through the entire arrangement, so it's a full flower workshop for you. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, my name is Chelsea Fuss. I am a floral design instructor and I have an online flower school at FROLIC Flower School. I am the author of Field Flower Vase, Arranging and Crafting with Seasonal and Wild Blooms. If you are interested in learning more about floral design, maybe for your home, or maybe you have aspirations to become a florist, I share a lot of free flower workshops and also behind the scenes of being a florist on this channel. So you can hit subscribe, and if you want to be notified every time I make a new video, there's a little bell there that you can hit so that you can be notified each time I upload a new flower workshop or tutorial. So let's dig in today. So as I said, the goal with this arrangement is really to create a total height of about 5 times the vase, and I want each blossom to shine beautifully. So I don't want to use flower foam. If you are new to the flower industry, flower foam is not sustainable, and I believe it takes about 500 years to break down. So we really don't need it. I have really never used it. Occasionally I would use it for large pieces. When I was doing a wedding or event on a hot day, occasionally I would use foam then, but I have since done away with any usage, and I find it to be a very fun challenge. Today I am going to start by making a twig grid. So this is a really fun way to use up leftover branches. If you are a florist or learning to be a florist, you know that there's a lot of twigs and branches and things that get thrown into the compost when you're working as a florist. It's funny because I think that is one of the things that surprises people the most, is how much trimming and editing of branches we do and how much we break them down. I can get into the reasons for that later, but one reason we do cut things short is because they will last a lot longer in the vase once the leaves are trimmed off and once they are cut down a little bit shorter. So there are always, little scraps. So it's fun to come up with ways that you can use those. Today I am using some leftover dried Queen Anne's lace branches to craft a twig grid for the top of my vase. And this is a really great mechanic to use. Now, you still need to use the principle of slowly building stability as we would with any vase arrangement, but it gives you extra support. Now, if you were going to be transporting these arrangements, I would also add some pea gravel in the bottom, and quite a bit of it, probably to fill most of the vase. Or you could use this in conjunction with a flower frog or a flower pin holder, as we call it sometimes. So either one of those work if you wanted some extra stability, but this as it is will be very stable. So basically I just create a grid. Now today I am using a raffia covered wire because that's what I had on hand. And I want to remind you that whatever you already have is the most sustainable option, okay? But ideally, I would love to use a very narrow linen twine here, and that would make the whole arrangement, minus the vase, of course, completely compostable. And that is always my goal with my mechanics. But today I had the wire, and that also works really well, particularly when it is covered in paper like this. So now I am crafting my grid and just making sure that it can sit flat on top of the vase. Okay, so let's dig into today's arrangement. I'm very excited about the ingredients I have today. So today's ingredients were cut from my small balcony garden where I grow some cutting flowers, and they were foraged. Okay, so often I will combine flower sources for my floral styling projects. Today's ingredients came from my garden and from foraging. So the ingredients I have today include radish flowers, pelargonium or scented geranium, sweet pea, wild fennel, and a pink trumpet vine, which is absolutely gorgeous. Please keep in mind that this pink trumpet vine is poisonous to children and pets. It is toxic, so typically when I work with it, afterwards I do wash my hands. So that's just a good thing to be aware of. But I am really excited about this arrangement today because I think each one of these blossoms are just so incredibly gorgeous. So typically at the start of each workshop and at the start of each arrangement, what we want to do is clean and organize our materials. So I've taken most of the leaves off the bottom section of each flower stem. We don't want leaves in our water as it will cause more bacteria to grow. So having the leaves away will keep the water clean and keep our arrangement lasting a long time. That said, I do want to remind you that for an arrangement like this, you probably will need to add fresh water every day or every other day because the container itself is so small. The other thing I like to do before I get started is to organize every flower and ingredient by color and by type. So I like to have it all laid out in front of me. It's best to start as organized as you can. Things usually get a little messy and chaotic mid-flower arrangement, but I like to start out as organized as possible. And like any creative project, you really want to have a lot of space around you and a designated spot when you are making flower arrangements. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is fill our little bowl with water, and then we will place our little twig grid on top. Now keep in mind when you're starting out, everything's going to be just a little bit delicate. We will be building stability as we go, okay? So I'm going to start out by adding some of these shorter pieces, some small fennel, which is actually very sturdy. So we need to start by building low in order to make this secure. And typically when I'm working with my twig grid, I will actually just place a few stems first in one little square section, okay, and really build some stability there. And as I keep going, I start building, you know, the crisscross of stems inside, and it slowly adds stability. But as you can see, I'm only adding small leaves and small sturdy flowers in the beginnings. Now that I have a little bit of stability on the bottom, I can start adding some pieces that are just a little bit taller. continuing to build stability all around the bowl. Okay, so I'm adding in some taller scented geranium, and I'm starting to turn the arrangement as I go, crisscrossing those stems and putting multiple stems within each little square in the grid. Now I want some small leaves coming over the edge of the vase. This helps to hide our mechanics. Okay, even when I work with natural mechanics, I like to hide them. So I'm really filling in with a lot of the fennel. It has that lovely blousy look, but it's actually very, very sturdy. So I'm adding in low flowers and then taller flowers and the very delicate radish flowers at the end. One of the keys to these arrangements is starting out low, adding in different heights. Once you get that stability next to the rim of the vase, make sure you have leaves at the rim of the vase, and make sure you're leaving the most delicate items for the last. So now you have this really beautiful sculptural but still very blousy meadow-like arrangement. It works really well with some looser stems and little bud vases down the center of a table for an event, or you could just have this be a focal piece for a photo shoot, which is really, really lovely. So have you ever made a low bowl arrangement and tried it foam free? I would love to know. And I'd love to know if you're making arrangements right now for your home, or if you are wanting to be a florist, or maybe it's a little bit of both. Leave me a comment down in the comment box below. So one thing we could do at the end is we could trim our twig grid a little bit if we see, you know, some of the twigs sticking out. Some people like that as part of the composition. I like to keep them pretty camouflaged, so I think I will be trimming just a few off of the edge of the vase. But I do think this makes an absolutely gorgeous piece for a photo shoot. You really can appreciate each lovely blossom. And as I said, these were foraged and then some were cut from my balcony cutting garden. So that's a great way to add some garden pieces to your arrangements, is by mixing sources. So often I will pull a bit from the wholesale market, a little bit from foraging, and a little bit from my own garden. Sometimes I even take in little bundles of herbs or flowering herbs from local farms. So there's a lot of options when it comes to sourcing, and if you have more questions about sourcing, I would love to invite you to my sourcing workshop, Source Beautiful Flowers. As a home floral designer, a professional floral designer, or a floral stylist or artist. So in the workshop, it's about 45 minutes long, and I walk you through all of the different ways that you can source fresh cut flowers for the purpose you may need them for. And in the workshop, I share all of the sources that I use. I'm a little bit of a nomadic florist, so I'm working between Portugal and then also in the Pacific Northwest in the USA. So I have sources both places, so I share all of that in my workshop. And so I will put the link down below. If you click the link, just pop your email in, and you always have the option to unsubscribe. But as soon as you pop your email in, I will send over the link for the workshop, and I will also give you all of the notes to the workshop. So thank you so much for joining me today for our low bowl floral foam free workshop. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you do make this arrangement, I would absolutely love to see. So send me a photo. You can always send me a DM on Instagram or pop me an email. The link to my website is down below. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.